Can I get real with you for a moment? I mean, transparent and just completely raw. I'm going through some things. Compounding things are building up, and these thoughts that I'm having, these thoughts that I'm about to share with you, they're helping me. And I pray that they help you too. You see, this week, someone pointed me to Psalm 13, 1 through 2, where David says, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have sorrow in my heart? How long will my enemy triumph over me?" So this passage is hitting home for me right now. And I'm wondering if you can relate. You see, to me, David is having what I call a heavenly on-hold music moment. You know, when you call the helpline and you're waiting forever, and the recording tells you, your call is very important to us. But after the 15th repeat, you start doubting that message. Yeah, right. My call is important to you. See, that's where David is right now. He's dialing God, but it feels like his prayers are stuck in divine voicemail. Verse 1 has the eternal question. How long, Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? Now, David's words echo the deep ache of abandonment. He's acting like God has ghosted him, right? So this is a visceral cry from a soul that's caught in the waiting room of faith. You know, where the magazines are all outdated and the clock, well, it seems to have stopped ticking. But think of this. David's lament is not a sign of his failing faith. It's proof that his faith is still alive. After all, he's still knocking on God's door, right? Even if he feels like no one's answering, he's still knocking. And sometimes faith looks like dangling by a rope that you cannot see, just knowing in your heart that the rope is still there. And then there's verse 2, wrestling with the shadows. David cries out, "How long must I wrestle with my thoughts and day after day have sorrow in my heart?" See, now he's gone full on WrestleMania. His thoughts are body slamming each other all night long. His sorrow is playing referee, and joy? Joy hasn't even bought a ticket to the match. He's living in a mental wrestling ring where self-doubt and despair are tag teaming against hope. So as a counselor, this verse makes me think of the emotional treadmill of anxiety, depression, grief, trauma, disappointments, and shortfalls. It's all the treadmill that no one signed up for, but it just keeps running anyway. You're sprinting hard, but you're not getting anywhere. And the scenery? Well, you know, the scenery is your internal thoughts. The scenery is anything but pretty. Now here's where my imagination really grips me. See, David's lament here is a bit like when your GPS says, recalculating, and you know that you're stuck in traffic. I mean, seriously, this road of frustration is taking me nowhere fast, and I'm supposed to believe that you're still thinking about me? Well, yeah. You see, Psalm 13 as a whole reminds us that faith it's not just about the destination. It's about wrestling through the journey. David's transparency gives us permission to voice our own frustrations, knowing that God can handle our honesty. Now, like a good father, he's more interested in our hearts than our polished performances. So, Psalm 13. It invites us into this reality that faith involves wrestling, waiting, and sometimes yelling into the silence. But silence is not absence, and the wrestling itself is evidence that we're still in there. We're still hanging in there. And God is still on the line, even if the on-hold music is driving you nuts. Now keep in mind, Psalm 13 closes out with David confirming his trust in God's unfailing love. So as for me, I'm going to keep knocking on the door because I'm keeping faith.